Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the family of a Kentucky teacher is fighting for her final paycheck after her death. And Congressman Hal Rogers begins to plan ahead with officials to prevent more flooding in eastern Kentucky.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. My name is Amelia Lee here with you on this Tuesday, March 11th, and the time is 5:29, marching up to that 5:30, which means it is time to check on in with our friend, meteorologist Megan Dusmall this morning. Megan, I am excited for those 70s. Will I be spending most of that indoors? Yeah, probably. I don't like to be hot, but I'm still excited for everyone else.
Well, the good news is it's very sunny outside, so you could still sit inside by a window and get that warmth, you know. It's going to be a good day. You might need to take a second and go outdoors. I'll take you outside at some point. But yes, today is going to be absolutely wonderful. Starting off this morning, a little chilly, but not too bad. Mostly in the 30s and 40s, so you'll need a coat this morning. But by the time you head into the afternoon, you can take that off and probably switch into a short sleeve shirt because we're talking very warm. Most places in that mid-70 mark, excuse me. Almost can't believe it, it's so warm. And then we do have some areas in the low 70s and upper 60s if you're traveling towards Wise. And as I mentioned, it's going to be nice and sunny. Starting right now, we don't even have a single cloud in the sky, and that will be the trend all day long. So definitely make sure you don't leave the house without your sunglasses because you will need them. Here's how the next couple hours will play off. We'll see those temperatures hit the high around that 4 o'clock mark and sunny skies again consistently throughout the day. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. Well, a widower is fighting for a final paycheck from the school system where his late wife worked. Jerry Hall says his wife saved up sick days as a teacher. When she died, he thought the district would pay those days out to her estate. Then they didn't. Kristen Kennedy investigates.
You know, she liked to joke around.
Jerry Hall met Joanne when they were just children.
We was married at 45, and we was together 47.
Together, they had 3 kids.
This is a picture of our family.
And when those kids were little, Jerry supported the family while Joanne went to college and got her teacher's certificate.
How much did she love her job?
She loved it.
Joanne taught science for more than 20 years in Hazard and then moved to Duff Allen Central Elementary in Floyd County.
She was talking retirement and everything last year. And the ex-superintendent and the principal talked her into staying.
Jerry Hall said his wife didn't feel good when he was driving her to school. She fell before she even got in the building. And at the time of her death, she had more than 200 sick days banked with the school system.
You received a final check for her work.
For her work, yes.
But what's missing?
Her personal days or sick days. They don't want to honor those.
Jerry says if Joanne were alive and retiring, her sick days would have been given to her as a cash payment, close to $22,000. Kentucky law, KRS 161.155, says the Board of Education may compensate at the time of retirement or upon the death of a member eligible to retire for each unused sick leave day. Education experts in Frankfort we talked to say nothing about the statute forces a district to pay. The director of HR for Floyd County Schools didn't want to talk on camera, but did tell us he knows of close to 10 cases similar to Joanne's in the last 10 years. He says Floyd County Schools has never once paid out sick days after death.
It doesn't sound like it's about the money for you. It doesn't sound like this fight is about the money owed.
No, it's, you know, like I said, it's just not for her, it's for all the teachers. You know, they don't tell you this, you know, about the days and stuff like that.
Hall says he's still paying what insurance didn't cover for Joanne's care. One bill alone is about $1,500. For WKYT Investigates, I'm Kristen Kennedy.
Education experts did say one way to make the statute more clear is to rewrite it. There are no bills on sick leave compensation in this year's legislative session. Well, people in London continue to search for answers after the death of Doug Harless. Harless died after an officer-involved shooting. Last night, community members gathered outside of London City Council meeting to make their voices heard. Trent Osborne, a former co-worker of Harless, says this kind of unrest is not good for the community, but it is opening people's eyes.
It could have been me, it could have been my grandmother, it could have been my parents, it could be your family and your children that got killed that night.
Family and friends wore bunny ears to commemorate Harless's love of raising rabbits. The council hosted the monthly meeting with no interruption. A Floyd County man is accused of possessing and sharing child sexual abuse material. Simon Roxas was indicted on charges of possession and distribution. Roxas was under investigation for several months. After obtaining his phone, officials say they found nearly 200 items of child sex abuse material. 2 people are in jail after being accused of assaulting 2 children in their care. It started when Pulaski County Police responded to a complaint last Wednesday. Police were told that a child claimed her parents committed acts of abuse against them and another child. Police collected evidence during an investigation, which led to the arrest of Marty and Judith Williams. They were taken to the Pulaski County Detention Center. A man is behind bars after hiding meth from police in Laurel County. The sheriff says deputies were looking for 35-year-old James Steins on Friday, who was wanted on an indictment warrant. Officials say after receiving a tip, they found Steins and tried to arrest him. That's when deputies say he threw a bag of meth between 2 objects and then tried to run. Steins is charged with possession of meth, resisting arrest, and tampering with physical evidence. 1 man is dead after a house fire in Powell County. Fire officials say a home on Black Creek Road caught fire last Thursday. It started in the back bedroom of the home. Crews with the Clay City and Stanton fire departments responded and put the fire out. An autopsy shows the man died from smoke inhalation, and his name has not yet been released. 1 person is dead after a motorcycle crash in Wayne County, West Virginia. According to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, the crash happened on Sunday. They say the driver was heading north on US 52 when he lost control. This led to the motorcycle going off the road before hitting a guardrail and then a utility pole. The person's name has not been released. Construction is underway on a US 421 road project. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the project will enhance a 1.5-mile section of US 421. That's near the Kentucky and Virginia state line. They say the project has been in the works since 2018, and even then, it aimed to eliminate flooding on the roadway. Officials say the project cost more than $21 million, and it's expected to be finished in November of next year. As Eastern Kentucky deals with the aftermath of recent flooding, local leaders are looking toward long-term solutions to prevent future damage. A meeting on Friday with Congressman Hal Rogers, the Army Corps of Engineers, and county leaders highlighted critical issues related to flood prevention and infrastructure improvements. WYMT's Caroline Mueller breaks down the discussion.
Plan your work and work your plan. That is the motto Congressman Hal Rogers emphasized to county mayors, judges, and emergency management officials as they address the next steps after yet another serious flood hit the region.
It was a chance for county judges to talk to the Corps of Engineers, who will be in charge of constructing things that will prevent flooding, hopefully, in the future. But first, to clean up the streams, which I think caused a big chunk of the problem.
Colonel Ren Mann with the Army Corps of Engineers says there is an increase in high-intensity rain events.
We've had 3 in the last 5 years, over 4 inches in 24 hours in this area. And without question, the impacts are felt at every level. And so to me, it was just really encouraging to see how many people care and are trying to work hard to find solutions and reduce impacts for these types of events.
The consensus is the waterways need to be cleaned one way or another. Many, like Floyd County Judge Robbie Williams, points to dredging as the key.
But I think dredging is just one component. I think this flood was a clear indication of the dredging issues in the lake.
Mann says she wants to manage expectations, as dredging could cost tens of millions of dollars.
Dredging may or may not help. And the study is required to even know, is that going to make it worse or is that going to make it better? And there are authorities out there for us to look at that could potentially look at dredging. Historically, we haven't gotten funding for that in the last 20 years.
One study by the Corps was on the Cumberland River in places like Harlan, Bell, Whitley, and Knox counties. It led to flood-proofing measures which have reduced damages significantly. Now the Corps is working on a 3-year study looking at 9 counties along the Kentucky River.
We have not only those diversion tunnels, but floodgates, flood walls, levees, a pump station in downtown Harlan that pumped 90 million gallons of water out of the city of Harlan in 36 hours. I agree with Judge Jones. We do need dredging, there's no doubt about it. But the investments that could be made in flood proofing will save future payouts from the federal government.
As officials look to the future, the message is clear. Successful flood management requires thoughtful planning, federal support, and a commitment to long-term solutions that can reduce the devastation caused by rising waters. In Perry County, Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, this is only a portion of what the officials talked about in the meeting. They plan to get back together soon to go over what immediate and long-term help is available. The Appalachian Rising Above Telethon in Concert for Flood Relief is happening today. The event is at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg from 7 until 10 tonight. The goal is to raise at least $250,000 for flood relief. There will be live performances from Halfway to Hazard, Nicholas Jamerson, Tyra Madison, and more. Tickets will be $15 at the door. Well, there will also be virtual performances from Lee Greenwood as well as T. Graham Brown, and appearances from Eddie Montgomery, Tracy Lawrence, and Eastern Kentucky sports legend Tim Couch. There will also be a silent auction. Some of the items going up for auction include a UK basketball signed by current Wildcat and former Harlan County star Trent Noah. You can also bid on guitars signed by Alan Jackson and Dierks Bentley, and so much more. You can watch the special event tonight beginning at 7 on WYMT, HNI, and WYMT.com. When we return, Kentucky legislation will consider a bill that advocates say will help track vape sales.
And the sunshine is ending soon. I'll have the upcoming rain chance up next.